Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Elitist Geek. VR news for Sunday, September 18th, 2016. Let's get into it. So, there's a series that I'm working on, and some of you may have seen it, some of you not, on building your own virtual reality PC. So in part one, I showed the parts that I purchased. Now, in my household, there's a hand-me-down process, right? So, little anecdotal, but it gets to the point I'm going to get into. So, I'm the 1 and 2 spot with my first and second gaming rigs in terms of power rankings, right? Then it would be my daughter who's into Overwatch. She loves PvP, Overwatch. Like, that's all she plays right now, basically. She loves RPGs, kind of like her old man. Then there's my wife, who looks like a pretty harmless Filipina gal, and yet absolutely loves MMOs, but more specifically MMO PvP. So like World of Warcraft, she could do PvP literally all day long. So yeah, I'm a pretty lucky guy in that both of the ladies in my house are gamers, which makes my life, for those of you wondering, man, he gets a lot of game time for a guy who's married. Well, there you go. There's why, right? So the hand-me-down process, yeah, then it's my daughter, then it's my wife, because World of Warcraft, let's face it, you don't need a powerful card, right? So all those parts lined up, I go to start filming it today, and I realize I'm an idiot. So my wife, fine, that new case I bought was for her, so no issue there. But for my own, which I'm documenting for you guys, the case is micro ATX, mini ITX only. So a bit of a facepalm moment there as I'm, making a video on how to build a PC. I reach my first stumbling block, not being able to build a PC. But I'm going to bring that back tomorrow. There's also an issue with the power supply. The fan bearings are shot, brand new unit, off balance. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm not going to void the warranty after one day. I'm going to bring that stuff back and just get it exchanged. So just a small delay on that. It'll be a coming. And go figure, eh? The luck, and I'm telling you guys, anyone who's watched these videos for a while, you would think it's completely just some random bad luck, but you got to admit the amount of bad luck I have is pretty staggering. So there you go. 2 more components purchased with issues. Thankfully, this doesn't happen at work that often. Next up in the preamble, he's also one of the viewers on this channel, Brian Krasenstein. He's got a forums called VRTalk, and basically covers virtual reality topics like I do pretty much. And anyways, he had a really kind of interesting take on, it wasn't directed to my story about Servios with raw data and the Galaxy, or the Gallery, sorry, breaking $1 million in revenue. But he touched on how that is a good indicator that, look, AAA devs could stand to make a lot of money. And really good point he brought up, because if you think about it, raw data was priced at $39. Now, in my opinion, the amount of playtime I've put into it, easily worth the money. Yes, it's a wave shooter, but it adds so much more. It brings so much more to the table. I don't mind the fact that it costs $39. And I think in general, all of us early adopters, most of you guys, I don't want to speak on your behalf, but my bet is you're starving for AAA experiences. When they start coming, the cool phenomena I think that we're going to have in VR, and that's why I'm not worried, because we've got time on our side, and we are going to have momentum. When those first AAA games start being released, we're going to be gobbling that crap up like no tomorrow. The sales are going to be high. I bet you the per Vive, like if they do statistics on, how much of our game have we sold to the Vive base that's out there, that is going to be a really high percentage. Higher than, I think, anyone on the console or PC side of things realizes, because we're literally waiting around playing anything that comes our way, and most of that stuff's short and it's over and it's done with, and we box it up and don't look back. Chris, another viewer on the channel, yeah, he and me and a few of you are the weird exceptions. I see him playing Audio Shield every frickin' day, and by the way, he's really good. Had a watch, he linked me a video. Honestly, guys, I will never record myself playing Audio Shield because of his video. Damn, Chris, you're good in that game. So anyways, the point being, yeah, there's a couple of us that are pretty unusual, and, you know, like I said, I could play Elite Dangerous pretty much daily because it's a hell of a lot of fun. But for the most part, we're starved for AAA. So really good post. Check it out. It's on Brian's forums. And Brian, if you're watching this, that's a really, really good point that you bring up. The potential for AAA studios when they do start releasing their stuff for high per capita sales. Absolutely. Bang on. Bang on. Last, preamble topic has to do with a conversation I was having with kind of my circle of friends on Vent. So we often chat on Vent, and the topic got around to create your own construction sets. Now, for older gamers, this was something that was really popular in the mid-'80s, I would say, to about the mid-'90s. And this was pre-modding tools. What they were construction sets, and they either allowed you to create your own content for a game, like there was a Bard's Tale, Create Your Own Adventures. Adventures Unlimited was one of my favorite, which was based on the gold box D&D adventures of the late 80s, early 90s, which were absolutely fantastic. It let you build your own. There was a shoot 'em up construction set, an adventure game construction set on the Commodore 64, which allowed you to make RPGs in general. Now, there is the build your own RPG, I know that, the one that allows you to create JRPGs, and absolutely, that is still kind of in that tradition. What would be amazing, and this is kind of where our conversation went and veered into, is having that kind of functionality in virtual reality. I think would be fun. Now, there's a lot you can do with Minecraft, agreed, but it's a specific look, it's a specific purpose. If somebody could come up with a real build your own kind of virtual world with a different rule set, maybe different types of flexibility, I just think that would be really, really cool, really powerful. Something that gave you more flexibility than Minecraft. You'd have flexibility on texturing, polygon counts, all that kind of stuff to really give you a low-level overview and control of a VR world that you could then go into. I think that would be cool. And personally, it's probably pretty inevitable. Somebody's going to come up with something. And when they do, it's going to be pretty awesome. So let's get into the news. We have the devs for the FPS series, shooter series Metro. They are 4A games. They're ready to reveal an Oculus Touch title. And the Road to VR author, he did some sleuth work. He went to their Facebook page and looked at some of their pictures, and there were basically some hints on when the game was going to be announced, what type of game it is. Now, he did crack the when information is going to be forthcoming, and it looks like October 5th at the next Connect Dev Conference is when they are going to reveal their title. So I consider them AAA. I liked the Metro games. I liked them a lot. Super stoked about what that announcement could be. Hopefully it's not just, or it's not Sony exclusive. Hopefully it's Rift and Vive. Can't wait. So October 5th, mark that down, guys. I will be following that really, really closely. Next up, we have just a little article on Road to VR about Westworld. Now, Westworld is a cult classic sci-fi movie from 1973. Yul Brynner starred in it. Yul Brynner was just an awesome, awesome actor. Unfortunately, died from lung cancer. And for a lot of people, he's known more for his anti-smoking commercials than his movies, you know, or he's just known as the King and I guy when he was in westerns and in just fantastic movies, right? Westworld being one of them. Cheesy in a way, but man, did it fire up my imagination as a kid. It freaked the crap out of me, but fired my imagination up. It was kind of that whole idea of a holodeck before Star Trek called it a holodeck. The whole idea was a Western theme park where you literally went back in time and all the inhabitants of the theme park were essentially robots. So there's a TV series on HBO coming up that's going to turn that idea into an ongoing series. They did a VR, kind of just a short VR experience, and they used a new technique, a technique that Spherica developed with their camera using a GoPro and a movement system to basically do moving action shots, because generally that type of a movement in VR is not recommended because people who are prone to nausea and motion sickness, it's just a massive trigger apparently. So Spherica was able to go around that with this technology. Westworld used it for a short VR experience slash trailer for this upcoming Westworld TV series. So I will have the link below. Go check it out. Next up, we have some patents, and I've said this before with patents, they're always a little tricky. You got to be careful on, you know, how much validity you actually give them for resulting in something new. A lot of times it's companies just protecting, right? Or laying the foundation down, the foundation for a future project 5-10 years from now, so that legally they're protected, even if they never ever end up pursuing it. Anyways, Google has some patents in on an HMD of their own. And what's unique about this one is it mixes some things. It mixes the traditional HMD that we're used to with more of a sunglasses, ski goggle type visor and gloves. How the hell those all fit together, I have no clue. I've included the pictures that were actually submitted to the US Patent Office. Take a look. Let me know if that means anything to you guys. I found the art a little funny. Probably some lawyers with zero art skills created those drawings, so I got a chuckle out of those. But not much to see there in terms of what the end result would look like. So have a look. Link is below. Then we have an article from kernelmag.daily.com, and it's about the psychology of virtual reality. And I thought this was a really interesting topic. And if you go to the link, there's a really cool illusion video. And I'm going to explain that real quick because it's going to kind of go into the topic, kind of the opinion piece topic of tricking your brain. And it's Philip Zimbardo, and it's called the Ames Room, this illusion. And basically the idea behind that is it's easy to trick the human brain because the human brain bases new experiences off of old ones. And in the absence of clues, other types of determining factors, it will fall back on those old experiences to show you the new one and have you believe it's like those previous experiences. What this room does is it's built in such a way that one side of the room is taller than the other corner. The door frame and the clock, there's also a clock on the right-hand side and a window, I believe, are done in such a way, and the perspective is filmed in such a way that they look identical, the same size and same height. So when Philip walks from the left to the right, to the human brain, because it doesn't have all those cues that I just described to you, it looks as if he grew, like turned 9 feet tall as he's walking across. And that brought up a really interesting point for me about VR experiences, because a lot of what we're seeing right now is just mirroring actual reality. Sure, there's some forays into the fantastical, but everything still uses kind of Newtonian physics for the most part. Stuff happens like you would expect it to happen. And what we really haven't seen a lot of are those experiences or games that literally take the blue pill or the red one and drop into Alice's rabbit hole. None of that kind of stuff available really in great numbers. But when they do, the ability to just screw with our minds is going to be awesome. I think I could probably keep myself entertained on those types of experiences like illusions, brain puzzles. If somebody would come up with a set of those, I think that would be fun. I think it would be a really cool use of VR. And what I mean by that is not just like escape room puzzle. No, actual illusions, but done within virtual reality that don't necessarily follow the laws of physics, right? Portal is kind of an example of that, but for the most part, stuff reacts like you expect it to. So different than that, if that makes any sense, but hopefully it does. That's an area that we haven't seen really any examples of, but I would love to. I would love to see that come to fruition. And then last news piece, again, more of an opinion piece, has to do with social VR. Again, it was a daily.com article about stuff like AltSpace VR and VR chat. And I know a few of you mentioned the AltSpace VR to me. Still haven't got around to checking that out. But I like what it's setting out to try and do. This really got me thinking about a Japanese phenomenon called hikikomoro, I believe it's called. And it's basically shut-ins, people who lock themselves away. And it wasn't Steins Gate. There was an anime about somebody. Anyways, I should have checked that before I said this. I can't remember it now, but there's an anime dealing with it. Anyways, it's a phenomena in Japan, mostly millennials, but there's Gen Xers as well, where these people basically slowly at first drop out of society, continue to live at their parents' homes or alone in apartments, and essentially become shut-ins. They literally shut themselves off from the outside world and escape into kind of an inner world, their own anime fantasy world, and stop interacting with the outside. That's where I think VR could actually help or assist, or, depending on your viewpoint, could make that worse, because it could create an artificial social environment that, somebody who's locked into that mental state is almost to justify, right? They're paying their dues. They are interacting with people, but they're still doing it as a shut-in, essentially. So where that's going to go in the future, because right now we don't have that complex and fulfilling of a VR environment. And I don't mean to say we don't have favorite experiences or games, but it's not to the point where the potential for addiction is so strong that people are going to drop out left and right to escape. But we're getting there. And when we do, when we get close to that true holodeck stuff, that's where I think we're going to have whole new studies in psychology and human behavior and, handling addictions. When VR gets to that powerful point where it is essentially interchangeable with reality. So, very cool, but potentially kind of scary. Let me know what your thoughts are on that as we sit back and continue to watch all this unfold. Please let there be some AAA games on the horizon or some damn good indie games like Raw Data, because I'm waiting. All right, guys. Cheers as always, and definitely catch you on the VR flip side.